on one of my last videos, which is in the description, um, I was talking about how you have to be careful how you learn the United States history, because you have to learn it in two or three different ways, and from because history, what is learned in the United States of America, the curriculum and everything else, is from a white lens, and you would have to go back to Black American historians and scholars, which we do have from the 17 and 1800s. Um, that you could learn Black American history, because the way people wrote about Black Americans isn't always quite accurate. Um, yeah, so, and someone had an issue with it, saying, well, why do you say it's biased? Why do you say just, why can't we just learn both? Why is it so biased? Because it is biased, okay? For instance, Jim Crow laws. Jim Crow laws, if you accidentally touched a white woman back in the day, they would consider you a rapist. You could be accused of that. So in the newspapers, for instance, in historically documented newspapers, excuse me, they will call that person a rapist. Okay? When he did no such thing. Okay? So if you're reading from the perspective of Jim Crow laws, which were instituted by a systemic thing, white history, okay? And you think that what they're saying is correct because you say, oh, it's history. No, it's bias. It's incorrect. It's prejudiced. It's wrong. Misinformation. It's a lie. Okay? To say that man, that black man right there, when he was walking, he glanced over at a white woman, or he brushed up against her walking down the street, and now you call it grape because she started crying. That happened often. Okay? So that's what I'm talking about. In reality, the same incident can be written about in a black publication. The same incident, the same man and woman can be written about in a black publication, and they will tell the exact truth about what happened. And it's basically a lynch mob. So yeah, so when you go back and read history, you read the way it was written by white publications, and then you go and read the reality. Oh, so he really wasn't a rapist. No, he was not. And this is why you have to really be careful about reading and learning history in the United States of America, because certain things are just untrue, or they're written about statistically with a slant. Such as you may see or read a narrative from someone who was enslaved, and they seem to always laud or praise the slave owner, right? But then you want to look at this. You want to look at the Jim Crow laws or the black codes back then, right? You better not say anything. So they would say the good massa. Because if you said bad, he treats me horribly, you might find yourself on a tree. Or tortured. Okay? So when you read even a narrative, you have to understand that when the enslaved were speaking, they could not say what they needed to say, because they could literally lose their lives. Okay? There was there was no such thing as accusing a slaver or any white person. That's against the law. Um, all of that was against the law. So you just had to just keep quiet. And that's why you have to know history in the United States to understand what in the world was going on. No, slavery was not great, but could they say it when being interviewed? Could they say it to another white person who was interviewing them? No. Most times, no. And that's why I say you have to understand the United States history in three different ways. Because you just walk around learning what the white people wrote. You might be learning something wrong or untrue.